I don't know. I need my glasses though.
Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to East of Anime, a podcast where we talk about anime. This is the technically the first episode of East of Anime. I'm the Big Bad Moon. Right over here on the right is Helen 3D. She is one of your other hosts, and just below me is Bad Strategy. He's one of your other hosts. And we have a guest today, down on the bottom right here, Mountain Dew. Hey, Mountain Dew, how you
Hello,
doing?
hello. Good, good, thank you. How are you doing?
Fabulous.
Hello,
Hey,
sweet.
fix this
I'm
here.
excited to be here.
Fabulous.
Big excite. Sweet.
Seems like the sound is working though. Helen,
Sweet.
Helen, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a really good day, and my parents came up and visited, so that was nice.
Ah, yay.
A really good day.
And Bad, how you doing?
I am super good, always, every day.
Super good.
That is the way to go, man.
Oh yeah. Got to. But yeah, so welcome. This is our first stream as East of Anime, formerly known as An Anime Story. It's a little hard to say. I'm gonna get some of the other details worked out later. I'm gonna go ahead and change the show today. Or go ahead and change some of the show stuff around. Mountain Dew. It's lovely to have you here. You're our very first
Thank
guest
you.
of all time.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I feel even extra honored now.
I know. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I love anime for one. I've been watching anime for like years and years. First one I started out with, of course, Sailor Moon. I play a lot of games. I'm definitely am a variety streamer, so that's variety gamer. I can never really stick to one game. I play a lot of World of Warcraft. Especially now. But my main thing is I just like talking to people. I like hanging out and making friends. If you would have asked me 4 years ago if I would have ever thought I would have been able to make friends online and like actually like open myself up and get out of my shell, I would have been like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I have all these wonderful people in my life and that we get to literally talk about anime, and it makes me happy.
Yeah,
Me too.
totally. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what you said? What kind of games did you say you played?
World of Warcraft. I play Destiny 2. What else do I play? League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege. A lot of different games. It kind of mixes up. Yeah. Definitely Destiny 2 is my favorite game though.
Destiny 2? Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I've not played any of the Destiny games. But
it's very good.
So we're discussing an anime today. Just so everybody's aware, it's called Decadence. That's a hyphenated word, DECA hyphen DENSE. I believe that's how it was. Decadence. So interesting anime. I'm gonna go ahead and actually have you sum it up for us, Mountain Dew. What do you think?
Oh jeez.
What is Decadence about? Go ahead.
Low key, I like. It's just there's so much elements into it. It's so hard to summarize. Like there's so much going on. It definitely at first, I was thinking like, okay, it's definitely gonna be like a mech, like Monster Hunter vibes to it, which it did. But the part, it switched me up completely because I started getting like, okay, this is like Sword Art Online, like otherworldly. Like there's like this. It came to like kind of gave me like different like worlds interacting to each other, and one of those worlds being enslaved and like in they have no idea that they're living like this.
Right.
And we've got the main girl, Natsumi. She just completely like is a badass, and she just defies all the odds. I mean, like her dad was like on the verge of finding out and figuring out what was really going on, and figuring out that hey, we're kind of living in a world that it's not everything we think it is. And obviously he, of course, like anime protagonist, he loses. Yes, as anime does. They always kill off the person who's gonna find out. But just seeing her grow and seeing her like have this burning passion to like just like, even though everyone's telling her no, she just keeps going. And then you've got her boss. Oh my gosh, it's I can't pronounce it.
Kaburagi. He had a kind of a hard one to
Yes.
pronounce. Kabagu.
Yes.
Kaburagi.
Kaburagi.
Yeah, the Kaburagi.
Kaburagi. Yes, Kaburagi. And like seeing
Helen,
him
can we
like
get a clarification on that pronunciation?
yes, please. I can't pronounce. I'm just gonna say it. Disclaimer: I suck at pronouncing names, even the most basic names.
Say, okay, you're falling asleep over there.
Yeah,
No, I'm
that's
not.
right. Well, I'm no stranger to butchering Japanese names.
It's
so-
horrible. It
butcher
makes me so angry.
I butcher them too.
We probably all butcher them. It's fair. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, no.
As long as we own up to it.
Exactly. We know we don't speak good. So, as
No,
bad, what are your just generalized thoughts? So we have Myandu's thoughts. What are your generalized thoughts?
I like it. It's got a lot of like aesthetic things that really get to me. There are various like
Mhm.
small elements that are hard for me to put together into one cohesive statement.
Right.
It's cool. It had some. I remember in the first like 4 episodes, it had some music that I really liked, but
Yes.
it's hard for me to place that as well.
Mhm.
I think at the start of episode 2, I had a moment of being like, "What in the hell am I watching? Is this a
Like,
different
what is
show?
happening here?
Is this the wrong show?"
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
They
Interesting. Okay, Helen, initial thoughts for you. Any?
So my initial thoughts, especially when it very first started, like the first episode, it was like, okay, so we're in a world where, you know, these people are fighting for their lives. But then when you hit the end with those little like crazy tiny creatures, it's like, wait, they run everything? Wait, what?
Mhm.
And so it kind of on the first watch through, like Troa even was like, it kind of has like not a trigger feel necessarily, but kind of that story almost. Like it has kind of a similar storytelling devices as triggers,
Right.
like the Trigger Studio.
Yeah.
And I agree. I didn't get the feel of Trigger. I thought like they were more focused on motivations and what the characters wanted. And so they were able to hype up the stakes by using that. But so and that's what I feel like is kind of missing from Trigger's stuff sometimes is I don't feel like the motivation's always very clear. And I feel like when it's muddy, it kind of creates more exposition than is needed.
Yeah. No, that's very fair.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So okay.
Can
so
we
or go ahead.
can we also establish that the little like robot dudes are not cyborgs, and they should not call them
No.
cyborgs because they
No,
are not
they look like
cyborgs.
the characters
fair.
from Fall Guys.
Yeah, that's no. Well, and so this is also I think there's an important technical distinction is they're not really cyborgs. I think they're just robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they established that they're manufactured because what I was thinking
Completely
initially was like,
manufactured,
oh, are these the people who like they like survived and got turned into cyborgs? But
Right.
they mentioned a manufacturing date.
Yeah, no, I think they
And I'm like,
specifically built.
I like sci-fi, and this hurts.
Cyborg is a great word, though. Probably. Oh no, you
It
know
is
what
a good word.
You know it is a translation thing. That's all.
Yeah, it's probably a translation thing. I wonder,
Probably.
Helen, in the Japanese version, do they say the English word cyborg?
I don't think so.
I was gonna say that'll be a big tell.
I don't remember reading like they may have translated it twice, but they didn't say it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which they actually did drop a lot of English words.
Did they?
Like even in the Japanese sub, it was still they were still saying a lot of English words instead of their own.
Interesting.
So I thought that was weird.
I would normally classify that as it being a better sub because it is always delightful to hear Japanese voice actors like
Yes.
English words.
Right. Yeah.
It's
That is-
great.
Well, and you hear it and you're like, oh, they said that in English. Okay, I like it's almost like you can track most of what they're saying without reading the subs.
It's even better when they don't match the subs.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that
It's
happens
like,
a lot.
wait, what happened?
Well, I can't watch subs and dub. Like I can't put subs on the dub because the dubs never match.
So real quick, before we continue the discussion, let's kind of sum up what exactly the show is. So, I think basically, as I saw it, or as I was seeing the show, there is a giant mobile city. I don't know if it's on big tracks or anything or something like that, or wheels, but giant mobile city that the remainder of the human beings live on. And unbeknownst to them, there is a space station with these cyborgs, these robots, and what the cyborgs and the robots are doing is they are mining the juices from these creatures that live on the surface. This actually is kind of a weird thing because they manufacture
it's a bit
creatures.
unclear. It's a bit unclear
Yeah.
because I don't know that we can say with certainty. I don't think it's evident that the creatures are the only place they get the juices from.
Right, yeah, that's fair.
It is
Perhaps
possible they mine the stuff elsewhere, and then they
Right.
manufacture the creatures, and then they just recycle the poo of the creatures
Right.
with that.
Yeah.
We don't know that
Yeah.
the creatures are the source of the poo, though.
Yeah,
Of the
okay. So,
fuel.
So I think Pooh's apt. So
I agree.
So
It starts with I can't remember though.
so they
It's oxygon or oxygon
oxytocin, yeah, something like that. So basically, the aliens run this.
Oxyon.
Oh yeah, Oxyon. So the aliens run this basically MMO game, and all of the or they're not aliens. All of the cyborgs, the robots, play this MMO, and when they play this MMO, they control an avatar that is like a humanoid person that has just like a weird like green skin or something, and they exist on the human colony, these avatars, and they go fight the monster or these monsters, and harvest their poo and their blood, and
It's like they're living in a giant monster world, like Monster Hunter, like simulator.
kind of sort of. So I feel like it's a little unclear. So the aliens, or I keep thinking of them as aliens because they're in a spaceship and they all look weird.
Right, you would think.
But so the robots, they are playing an MMO, and the MMO makes it so they control just like a human body, and they go around hunting down these monsters, collecting their blood, and the humans don't know it, and they need the humans because they keep the city, I guess, up to date.
They don't actually need the humans for anything.
Yeah,
The
that's right. They don't
humans
actually
are
need
just an exhibit. I mean, yeah.
That's fair. They're kind of a
Mm-hmm.
kind of an exhibit. Interesting.
It's like
Like,
you're
hey, look
playing
at
a
these
medieval
guys.
game with actual medieval people.
It's like they're NPCs, kinda, is what they're thinking,
Yeah, interesting.
but like actual people.
So that's. I feel like that kind of sums it up. I feel like that wasn't perfect.
I would say is about a protagonist whose father dies, and she wants to get stronger so that she has some like power over the world. I think is her goal, and she has then she meets a guy named Kaburagi who's like given up on life, and he's like, there's no meaning and there's no purpose,
Like,
and he's
I'm
like
sad
super
boy.
powerful. Yeah, and we have this sort of like archetypical thing where he like sees her acting in this sort of heroic way, and he's inspired by it to be like, maybe there is meaning in the world, and I really like that. And then so he starts helping her, and he's like a mentor character, and
Right.
yeah, I'd say it's mostly about that. And he's like a
Yeah. No, that's fair. That is very reasonable.
There's just so many different aspects.
There are.
Right.
I think one of the main things I took away from it was her journey into, like, she wants to be this warrior, and it's kind of stereotypical to say she doesn't get it. And so then she has to work hard, and then the guy ends up seeing the light in her and trains her.
Right.
I think that's a pretty common thematic. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of. I think that's an archetypal thing, like someone who's given up seeing like an element of. I would say it's an element of the heroic in someone else and being inspired by that because it's like a beautiful thing. You're like,
okay, yeah. There's those. Do those things? That's an interesting. That's interesting because those are kind of two separate things going. Because one of them is that the girl who doesn't seem to have potential because she's like has one arm and she's just a human and all that, is being given a chance by somebody who does have power to show her potential. And then at the same time, there's another thing going on that is a character who has given up on everything and doesn't care and thinks it's kind of meaningless, is finding meaning and realizing that maybe, you know, all the things he used to think are worth it, while doing that.
It's like he's sort of reestablishing his like faith in his values that he's given up on.
Right.
That's part of it.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Because he kind of got tracked through the mud, didn't he? Like, at least that's what I was feeling. Like, he just got completely, like, shut down. Like, all faith is lost. Like, there's no beating the system at all.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's...
It's also a weird situation that would put anyone down, that he was a robot manufactured for the purpose of playing the same MMO for his entire life.
And he was programmed, too.
Yeah,
that's a little...
That's a little weird. Okay. So... Let's talk about this. What is and we'll start with Hallen. What is something about the show that you really liked and something about the show that you didn't like?
I really liked the fact that the action and everything felt real and grounded. It didn't feel like the story was just kind of up in the air. I felt like it was really tracked through. It didn't feel like, I liked the music. I liked, I don't know. I thought they did it very clean.
Yeah.
And I liked that. Like, I felt like it was easier to understand with less exposition. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Bad, what do you think?
Well, I love some of the stuff that we've talked about now. I like the archetypal stuff in there. Obviously, defending yourself with a rocket-propelled fist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty orky.
Yeah,
I'm into that.
It's never been done before. I've never seen that. I thought it was gonna be a cannon.
Yeah, no, yeah. And there were a bunch of points in the show where it's like, wait, that's not a cannon. Oh right, it's a giant fist.
Because then they called it a cannon.
I actually liked that they defied that because I thought they were gonna shoot a laser.
Yeah.
So when they didn't shoot a laser, I was like, well, I liked that it was different than what I expected.
It just kind of went like yeet.
Not what we expected. Yeah.
It's a very orky approach to things.
Right. Totally.
I would say something I didn't like. I think that the overarching villain was generic and that the writer didn't understand the overarching villain, because the overarching villain was
I'd agree with that.
Which you couldn't have called it by a more generic
that's
name. Also, everything the system did was weird. Like, it manufactured robots to play an MMO.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the point? And none of its actions made sense. So I think that was probably one of the weaker points of the show.
Right. No, for sure.
So I do
and the fact that they were calling out like the bugs. It's like, okay, but why are they buggy? Like,
like, what is the bugs? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that. Well, that.
And then, like, why are you extracting stuff from their neck?
I think the issue for me is that I don't think the writer understood the antagonist, that overarching antagonistic force that was the cause of adversity. And if the writer doesn't understand the cause of adversity, then the viewer can't extract anything useful from watching it. You can't be like, oh, I understand the nature of the world better. It's like, no,
right. Well,
right.
Yeah, and this is. I think maybe it's also just it was that the motivation that the antagonist had was just not really picked well, because it's super easy and it's not very interesting to be like, it's the system and the system wants.
I actually don't even think that there is a motivation for the system, because the system does a lot of arbitrary things that make it seem like the sci-fi idea of like a paperclip machine that went out of control. That it's like, why is it destroying all human life to make paper clips?
To make more paper clips.
That said,
some
of these smaller antagonists I really liked. I think my favorite antagonist is Faye. Although I think they should have done more with her. I think her story was too brief.
Faye. Hang on. Who's that? Oh, yeah. No, yeah. That was interesting. That was very interesting. Her friend, Natsume's friend from high school or whatever their school is in Decadence.
Well, and I like her as a antagonist too, because it's kind of almost like she's been betrayed by her friend wanting to be in power. And so she's like, why do you keep doing this? You're doing it to me.
Yeah, because
so that creates kind of like this sorrow.
It does.
Yeah, I like her because her motivation's like, it's like she feels self-conscious because her friend is doing well and her friend is bettering herself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an interesting thing. I wish they'd have done more with that, but I really like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I wish they would have made it like the more conflict between them, like or explained it more.
Or put an episode dedicated to it, because it was sort of it was more of like a background note in 2 episodes. It was
exactly.
Yeah, there were just beats that wasn't like covered. So we had a beat of them having a conflict and another beat. So yeah,
because you could clearly tell that they meant the world to each other at one point. Like you saw them sitting together while she was getting bullied, and then all of a sudden just to be like, yo, yeah, I don't like you. You're kind of ticking me off. We're not going to explain this at all.
Okay, how about this? What do you think that it could have been interesting if they had perhaps started the show like 6 months before they graduated school?
I agree. Yeah, I think so. They would have given us more detail.
Maybe.
They'd have to do that'd be a whole different arc for the show, right?
So
which sucks.
I'm also not criticizing how it's implemented.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm mostly just saying that was one of my favorite bits, and I wish because it was
what
I think was one of the stronger parts of the story that it had a more dominant role. They could have also, yeah.
Well, and I think you kind of get into muddy territory, like doing it 6 months before, because one of the first things we learn in acting is establish relationship, establish where you are, and establish what is happening, so that way you can just fly. And those are the kind of things that like need to happen. I feel like with even a first episode of an anime or whatever, is we need to know right away, boom, boom, boom.
Right. Yeah, no, totally.
And when that's muddy is when people start getting lost and start feeling like, because I mean, just because there's specificities doesn't mean that it can't be complicated.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to like dumb down your audience or make them feel stupid. So I felt like they walked that line pretty well.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I will also say, I liked Minato as an antagonist, because his thing, he was the command tower guy, and his antagonistic thing was like because he was kind of right. He was like, well, there's the system and there's order, and if we destroy it, then there's anarchy, and that's terrible.
There's
and that
chaos.
was his. Yeah, but he was an anarchist because. Yeah, so he was an antagonist because of that.
He was a good character.
Yeah.
Okay. Mountain Dew. What is something you one thing you really liked about the show, and one thing you really didn't like about it?
I really, really enjoyed the art style. It definitely, like Helen was saying, like it just flowed together in the action scenes. And okay, Loki, this is kind of crazy, but like when they were flying around, it felt like Attack on Titan. It was giving me Attack on Titan vibes.
I had that thought while we were watching the show.
I had that, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, yes!
Yeah. Yes, more of this. Okay, so when you say the art style, I am assuming you mean down on the planet, and not in fact on the space station, because that was very different.
Oh, no. Definitely on the ground. Like, the space station was just kind of like, I kind of like floated over it. I was just like, okay, that's kind of odd. All right, get me back to the ground, please. I need to see.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
And then, so you really like the art style. What's something you didn't like about it?
The one thing I didn't like entirely is like, so I wish they would have spent more time, like, because I feel like the actual Deca, I can't even say it, the robot they're living in.
Decadence.
I feel like it was missing a lot of like during the big fight scene with the monsters and stuff. Like, yes, they had like, whatchamacallit, focus and like colors and stuff on the like on the effects and like the lasers and stuff.
Right.
But it was kind of hard to see what what it was changing into, like where are all these parts into play, and then where the hell was happening to the humans? Like I thought they were supposed to go to a safe spot, and then in another scene, I'm seeing them like near a nightclub. I'm like, y'all just chilling while this thing is about ready to punch this monster?
Right. Interesting.
That is something. So if I would like to extend on that. I think one of the things that I wish they'd done more of is fleshed out what is happening on Decadence. I wanted to see like when Decadence gets hit or something, like I want to see like the people inside and where they are and like shaking and panicking, and I want to know how Decadence works, because this was also confusing when the protagonist was climbing up. It was like, how does she get admitted into a system? How much power do the people in the system have? And like, I thought there was too much unknown.
What is reacting? Because like, there's a lot of times where things were happening outside where nothing was happening inside. And
inside.
Like you see the whole building shake, but nobody acted like it shook.
Right.
Yeah, they were just walking around.
I don't know. Like, I feel like they, like, maybe you would put a hand on the wall because you're used to the shakes and you just have to get through them. But
or like the water splashing around.
Something.
Right.
Yeah, I feel
that was like an acknowledgement to it, or like not.
They needed to explain vastly more about everything that was happening on Decadence.
Yeah.
I think it was unclear.
The show that the name is it
was
the
title
of the
show.
That they would like
pretty heavily.
You would think that they would make the area that they're living in, the like you said, the actual name of the show, like they would provide more information on this giant mech that everybody's living in.
Right.
Like,
there's something that really confused me was the players of the game who were controlling bodies in Decadence. How much power did they have?
Right.
Because like at one point, one of them's like, "Yeah, you can join the team of people who fight monsters," and I'm like, do you have the authority to do that?
Right, like where's your general? I want to talk to your supervisor.
Right.
What's the chain of command? Yeah. Like, as a player, how much do you have?
Who are the admins?
There are a lot of questions.
Yeah.
That were left unanswered.
The uncertainty in that respect made it hard to engage with Natsume's progression.
Right.
Up.
That is fair. That is fair.
Well, and with her boss, it was like, okay, but how much power does he have?
Right.
And obviously, like, we saw how strong he was because they showed us him, like, protect her the entire time. But, like, at the same time, like, they never really explain. Like, he kind of does stuff, and he's kind of an agent, and it wasn't specific in those things.
Yeah. So, okay, that I just briefly want to talk about the things that I liked and didn't like about the show.
Yeah,
go for it.
So I did like the general structure of how everything was. I liked the relationship between Natsume and Kaburagi. I liked that thing going on. I thought that was interesting. I did like Minato, and I liked Faye, and I liked a lot of the story, and I like the kind of the groundwork that was put in there. I think in general, foundationally, I think is really good. Something that I did not like at all, even a tiny bit, was the vast ocean of difference in the style and the tone from the ground to the space station.
Yes.
I thought it only detracted. It was.
So I agree with you. I just felt like, it was jolting.
It's jolting, and that's a thing. Or go ahead, Bed.
I would like to expand on that by saying, if it were in one style,
right,
doesn't matter which style the entire way through, that wouldn't have been an issue.
The consistency, if it had started in the weird emoji style, though I think it would have been obviously better in the more serious style. If it was consistent, it would be better, but it felt broken, and it didn't. The consistency was bad. So that being said, I think the seriousness of some of the portions of the show, also Kabaguri, his character being very serious and being a very torn emotionally and ethically torn person or robot, and being like a weird emoji thing.
Yeah, I can't take it
work.
seriously.
It's
it didn't
funny
at all.
the thing that's funny is that Natsume is like a funny,
Right,
like
totally.
comedic, lighthearted character in the more realistic style, and then it switches to Kaburagi's story, and he's like, I'm serious
Yeah.
all the time, and he's an emoji with a big
And he's-
round butt.
Take
Right.
him seriously.
And Mickey Mouse hands.
Yep.
And it's like,
Yep.
that was jolting, and it was very sad. I wish that it had not been in that style, and I don't know why they made that choice, but I feel like it was not.
I feel like I do know why they made that choice. I think they wanted it to feel different. I think they wanted a contrast, but the
Right.
contrast they went with was not. I don't feel like it aided them. I felt
Right.
like it deterred from the story.
It was
Right.
maybe
So
they had.
I understand they were trying to like create a feel like,
Right.
oh, look how different, but
would've-
it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I didn't like the choice.
I think
I agree with
I
that.
think there are a number of ways they could have done the contrast that would have worked. I think keeping a realistic style,
Yeah.
but changing they're like rigid robots in a realistic style.
Right.
See,
Yeah. No. Totally.
Am I the only one who thinks that like Darling in the Franxx like robots would have been a better choice
Darling in the
than the
Franxx.
emojis? Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
He hasn't seen that
I
one.
haven't seen that one.
Wait, what? Oh my gosh, you guys have to. It's so good.
No, I've seen it.
They probably have, but I haven't.
So, okay, imagine big mechs that
'Kay.
require dual pilots,
Love it.
and they're powered by the sexual energies of their pilot.
Okay.
But like their faces, like you know what I'm talking about, right? Like their faces are like in the robot.
Oh my. How interesting.
It's interesting.
That sounds
Very
interesting. So okay, and this was a thing that I was thinking every single time we had a serious scene with Kaburagi. Every time we had a serious scene, I was thinking, man, if this was in like a realistic style and they were like robot cyborgs, you know, with like piston arms and stuff like that, you know, and him almost getting scrapped and being thrown into the like pit to harvest the poo or whatever. I think that could have felt a lot more like intense if you had just
Agreed.
had a regular style. And if he had done like if he was getting betrayed and, you know, walking around and having different thoughts, you know, or like, you know, being like, I don't know, am I doing the right thing? Are these humans, you know, not just a sideshow? God, I think it would have felt so much different, and I think it would have been for the benefit of the show. Yeah, and I understand that they were probably making, you know, a choice because they wanted to have this contrast. I also appreciate the idea of making the people controlling the avatars the like wacky artistic like emoji avatars, but they're the like ones controlling everything, and the avatars themselves are like more realistic humans. I get that, but I thought I would have made a very different choice. I don't think that was my least favorite part. I think.
Agreed.
But overall, I thought it was a good show. It was fun. It was
I
fun.
think it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I'm into. Yeah.
Are we thinking there's gonna be a second season? I feel like it's gonna
have
be an
no
only
idea.
12 episode.
It feels like they're gonna end it. It feels
Yeah.
Expect not unless it's
Yeah.
bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the story's going to wrap itself up.
That's
Right,
what
because
I
there is
think.
Like, what else
technically
would you expand
2
on?
more episodes or something.
Yeah, and there's not going to be much for a second season. They could potentially do something because
Yeah.
they've made it pretty clear that the robots could rebuild, and
Right.
we have sufficiently little information about what the hell's going on with the system that, like, maybe they have a bunch of bases.
Yeah,
Who knows?
totally. Maybe there's
Maybe.
other humans. Maybe
And
there's
maybe our answers could be answered. Our questions could be answered. That's
Right.
what I meant.
I definitely got the feel that they have been on the edge of wrapping it up almost every episode. Like
Right.
it feels like
Yeah.
they're like, okay,
I think-
okay, like
right,
I don't
mean,
know that this is gonna continue. It
they
feels
could-
like they could just tie a bow tie on it.
right.
They could pull a Gurren Lagann and be like, cool, 15 years later, everything's different.
Totally different. Yeah, no,
Is
Is
totally.
that the French way to say Gurren Lagann?
Gurren Lagann? I don't know how to say it. I've heard
Lagann.
that anyways.
You thought he was bad at
Lagoon.
Japanese.
Haha.
Yeah. No, so other than that though, I think probably the only major issues with the show I think were like motivation. Like the antagonist, I didn't think he was interesting, and I think that just
No.
had to do with him not having a really personal
The
motivation.
overarching it.
Yeah, the overarching antagonist. Some of the smaller antagonists were pretty good. But the overarching the system, it was not interesting because it's just like the system wants to maintain the status quo of the system,
which is also doing arbitrary things.
Yeah, it's arbitrary. Yeah, sure. And that
and
obviously,
like what was the it didn't answer the why. Like, why is this person doing this? Like, the motivation was not there.
Yeah.
Why are we manufacturing robots to play an MMO?
Right. Who designed this?
What is the outside world like? Because remember, they thought that they were like, what if there is humans out there? Obviously, like, there has to be some bigger life force getting enjoyment out of this and watching it. So, like, what are they playing for?
And this was interesting because I think we had seen a couple of points in the show where it shows the outside world and it's like a barren wasteland. But then when the shield or whatever drops, it's like
there's like
forest.
bigger cities. Yeah.
And it's like, that wasn't forest outside before. So I don't know, maybe that's part of they want to, do more later, but
I would say this also feeds in, this also is part of the uncertainty and something that happened that looked like a consistency error, but may have just been like, we didn't have enough information. When they logged in from the prison console into their avatars, everyone except for Kaburagi was using their old avatar. And it's like, did they just make the new avatar look exactly like the old one?
Yeah, there's little
Can
things
they
like
do that?
They didn't have time to design new characters. Don't worry about it.
There was no time.
There was no
the
time.
End of the world.
Yeah. They already got those avatars out. It's okay.
Everything's fine.
But yeah, probably standard motivations problem.
Yeah. The music though was really on point.
That's fair. I didn't remember the music.
I remember in the first 4 episodes there were like 2 moments where I was like, I really like this music.
Totally.
I didn't notice that in the latter half, and I'm not sure if it didn't happen or if
or if you just didn't notice it.
If it just like I missed it.
I don't feel like it was as memorable. Honestly, I agree with you. There were moments in like the beginning episodes that I were like, "Ooh, that's good music."
Well, why didn't they like expand on that?
It wasn't bad music. It just wasn't memorable.
Yeah.
I agree entirely.
Yeah, that's fair.
It sounds something like Attack on Titan, where you're going to be like humming it, like
right, no,
cleaning and stuff, like I do.
Yeah.
I literally listen to the soundtracks all the time.
I will also add in a standard criticism that we don't really need to go into, which is if you make any part of the story a video game, you take away the seriousness of that.
Yes.
So when you have like a character who's a player in a video game dying, there's no tension because as soon as they're done dying, they can be like, guys, I just had such a cool death. You should have heard me. I said this.
I'm respawning.
Yeah, totally. I hate that. I wish they wouldn't do that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious. Are these avatars like real people that they're controlling?
Yeah. I don't think.
So
I don't think they are because of the way they're stored.
I think they're just meat bags.
Oh, jeez.
I will also say.
And which ones? Because they're all chipped. They're all chipped per se, but like some of them aren't avatars. And so how do you know the difference? Like, I don't understand that.
And this is the issue that it's not clear. There's not enough information provided. I want to also say, I think that as opposed to a lot of anime that the entire thing's a game, the having it be that part of it is game and part of it isn't, made the contrast more alarming, and I think it actually made it more detrimental to the seriousness of the narrative than if the entire thing had been a game.
Right.
No, I think
it's not like SAO.
Right. Yeah. Although
SAO, I would dare say SAO does it better than most because it's not just it's a game that becomes real, and a lot of them don't make the games real.
I actually haven't seen.
Or some of them allude to the fact that it's a game, but they never admit it, and they're like, yes, I need to kill people for experience points. And it's like,
what? It's like, what? Who cares if there's another real person on the end of this?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I think that definitely they could have done it in a way where it wasn't a game. It seemed unnecessary. It seemed, I don't know why. I guess somebody has to like the thing where it's actually like some kind of video game, because they definitely could have done it where it's like, oh, they have operatives and they make sure that they're in the human settlement, that they do this stuff, and it doesn't have to be like a game, but it was. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. Somebody likes it. I don't know who it is though.
I don't know, Home Dog.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. It's definitely, it was a good anime to, it was intriguing. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I'll probably finish it. I'll probably finish watching it because I've got a couple more episodes to go. It was definitely, I think I'll keep watching it.
Yeah.
Is it something that I'd probably be watching it over and over again? Probably not.
Right.
But definitely I did get good vibes, and I did it despite the fact that yes, there was a lot of work to be done on it. I think it was genuinely pretty darn good.
Above average, to be sure.
Yes.
At the very least.
Yeah. I liked it. I especially liked the realistic style moments.
Yep.
I was extremely frustrated during the emoji style early on, but the longer it got through, the more investment I had, and the more I'm okay with the emoji style, and I'm enjoying it. Especially because later on they start being like, this entire episode is emoji, this entire episode is not, or mostly. So some of the earlier episodes switch back and forth, and it's just so abrupt when that happens that it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, no, totally.
Also, the most important part that I liked, Pipe, the cute little alien. When he put on the little cat dog suit, it was so cute.
Pipe's gonna be competing for best girl, I think.
I think that's probably
Pipe
true.
is best girl.
Before we get to that, though, what would you say? Who would you recommend this anime to?
Someone who definitely there's so many different aspects. I feel like anyone who, whatever you're looking for, you'll get a piece of it in here. Definitely, I feel like the people who like the otherworldly stuff, Darling in the Bronx, like the spacey stuff.
Right.
Attack on Titan watchers might like it a little bit too. Just definitely the action, the fact that it is action more than anything. But definitely that is who I would recommend it to.
It has this cool mechanical vibe to it. And I wish that were more of it, because it's just a small bit, especially because the emoji style doesn't have any of that, but it's people who like that.
Yeah, no, totally.
I need more mechanical fist fighting in my life, okay?
Right.
Rocket fist.
Also,
yes,
I don't know
Rocket Fist.
Probably if you were vintage 4x4 people, then you might have looked at it and be like, they have an old Willys flat fender Jeep truck thing. It's kind of neat.
Yes.
I wish I had that.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Can I get this on my car?
Right. Yeah, totally. Helen, who would you recommend this to?
I would recommend it to somebody who likes the mech type stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody who might play mech type games. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to a newbie, somebody new to anime.
The style's too jarring.
It would have to be, somebody who's been in it for a while.
They can
someone
forgive.
like us who we were watching all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I think it's a tough one because I feel like it's got a lot of good stuff going on. It has a lot of rough stuff going on. If they were science fiction, post-apocalyptic maybe kind of person, and they were just looking for something fun, I'd probably recommend it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first thing I'd recommend, but I'd recommend
it.
It'd be if you're compiling a list of those type of genre of animes, I'd definitely put it on there.
Yeah.
Did anyone else think maybe at the start that the robots on the space station were using the humans to harvest the fuel to power the space station?
Yes.
Right.
Isn't that's
Yeah,
I thought it would have been better. That was the obvious thing, but it seems like it would have been better.
Yeah, maybe it needed a couple more drafts.
Just a wee bit. Just a smidge.
But yeah.
And also, isn't that stuff toxic? Why are the humans living around it? Why did it? I'm sorry, but with all the changing the mech stuff.
Fuel tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a fire hazard. Someone call OSHA.
Right. Seriously.
If there is an OSHA.
If there is an OSHA, there's probably Wasteland OSHA.
Yep. Yep.
But then comes the all important question: best girl.
Best girl. Oh,
Best
what's
girl.
the warrior's name? I can't remember. The girl who takes Natsume under her wing.
Yeah, we're gonna,
That one.
Kurunai. Kurunai.
Yes, best girl. Kurenai is best girl.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pipe is also best girl, but Kurenai.
I'm with Pipe.
Yep.
Rocket Fist is best girl.
That's good.
Rocket Fist.
I'm gonna go with
Rocket Fist
that.
provides a good time.
Rocket Fist for me definitely is
Rocket
best
Fist
girl.
provides a great time.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And you know what? I think probably Minato is my waifu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best waifu.
Yeah.
He's just
Best waifu.
very reasonable.
Yeah.
Very
professional. He does his
professional.
job.
Yeah, does his job.
You can rely on him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can agree with
Seems like
Minato.
a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
The one you want to come home to and make dinner.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny you kept bringing up Darling and the Franks because that was also a Trigger production. So.
Oh yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. So
I
it kind of goes to show you.
And Trigger is the studio that is a production studio,
Yeah.
or is it
There's a feel. It's a production studio, but it if you watch all Trigger shows and you get used to that style, they're very specific. They have a signature that we started a movie the other day and I was like, is this Trigger? Because it just felt like Trigger. They're like, oh shit, how'd you know? I was like, you just do.
You just
you
feel
just
the
know.
trigger. You feel the trigger.
I would like to clarify this. They get the stories from independent developers and then they turn them into animes. Is that what Trigger
I feel
does?
like they do. If so, that's really cool, and I feel like it provides definitely an outlet for them to get out their ideas and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, you have a lot of artistic capabilities.
Yeah, that's interesting because I wonder about that. And I wonder. I don't know how different American animated film production is from, because usually you have a company like Disney or you like DreamWorks or something like that who might fund a movie that is made by a smaller studio.
I kind of think that
now they're all made by big companies.
with stuff in the U.S., it's the animated film is the start, whereas with stuff in Japan, there's just a bunch of indie manga, and you just pick.
Right? Yeah, they just hey, which manga should we make today?
Right.
It's like, hey, which one needs an adaptation right now?
Which I will also say that's probably a better process for producing high quality animated content.
Yeah, totally.
If it can be turned into a manga, that's where it's really going to shine.
If only we had
easy to convert.
If only we had the diverse and interesting array of comics that they have in Japan.
Yes.
Because we
and hundreds and hundreds of manga books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hundreds of thousands.
I worked at a video store, and I can tell you this: in the 4 years I worked there, 9 times out of 10, I could guess what the trailer was gonna be like or what the plot was a mile away without even watching the movie. I'm like, oh, this is either a remake, or it's a reboot, or it's an adaptation, or that's literally all it is. I kept getting frustrated because there was no new ideas whenever I'd look and see what movies were coming out.
And I also just don't want to watch any more superhero things. It's just exhausting.
Nope, I'm good.
The West loves superheroes. Yeah. We love it.
Yes, dude.
Also,
I like Marvel.
We're also getting to the point where some manhwa is
oh yeah, that's interesting.
Palatable.
Were you telling me to look at some manhwa earlier?
What is that?
Manhwa is Korean manga.
Oh.
Okay.
And we're getting to the point where it's not, where some of it isn't the worst thing ever.
So wait, no. So it's
manhwa,
it's Korean manga that's made. Isn't it made for a web page?
It's usually designed to be read on your mobile device, which means you
Webtoons?
lose all of the beautiful page layout, this shot to this shot, and you have to scroll down. It's designed to be scrolled down, which is a bad way to ingest that kind of thing. But we're getting to the point where some of it is palatable. So
Dude, I've tried so hard to read manga on my phone. I even tried reading the new Fairy Tail because I was lazy and didn't want to go to Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, nope, I cannot do this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think for comics, manga, or Western comics or anything, having the pages, it's a lot better experience. That's why the last manga that I read, I had to buy all the paper copies. Way cheaper and more space efficient to just have them digitally.
Probably.
I know.
It's part of the experience, though.
Well, and sometimes you can
aren't
find
they typically cheaper too on digital?
Yeah, I don't know if they're cheaper. I feel like they maybe run like $1 or $2 cheaper, depending on what it is. I don't think they're that much cheaper though. Although they are, as long as whatever Amazon is still around, they are technically indestructible because you can just download as many as you need.
Yes, sirree.
But okay, let's talk about. Or did anybody have any final thoughts on Decadence for the day?
I feel like that is. Girl. I think that is someone who wanted to make like a pun using English words, but Japanese is their primary language, and they're like, it'll be decadence.
Yeah, like, totally it is. Because I don't know why you'd hyphenate decadence. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's totally like a Japanese thing. It's like a pun. It's like a pun in Japanese, and they're like, "Oh yeah." In America,
this is really gonna reel them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who speaks Japanese is like, "That's so funny."
Totally. Yeah, totally. Good title. Good title, Decadence. It's great. But okay. What are we gonna watch next week? Not next week. The week after next week. 2 weeks from now. Oh dear. Bad.
ReZero!
Oh yes, we are. We're watching ReZero.
Yes.
Season 2.
That's such a good show.
It's 10 out of 10. It messes with my feels. It makes me cry.
Oh, I'm very excited.
I want to see those Subaru tears.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Gotta get me some.
Face after he's like died a million times and he looks like life has been sucked out of him and he's like scared. Like,
what you do is you just like you play at a low volume the sound of Subaru screaming while you have sleep at night.
Yes. That is gong, by the way.
That gong will forever haunt me.
The gong?
Yeah, it goes whenever he like dies and like reawakens. Like,
I think I can even like hear it in my head.
Yep.
Oh.
It's like
and then we finally we haven't watched it yet. Is it because it's been out, but it's been going on. So
they haven't finished it. It's almost done.
But it'll be
done by the time
we do the show. So that was because I just want to know what happened to Rem. That's all. Again.
Best girl.
Rem.
I actually think we decided that Pike was best girl when we did the show.
That's true. That's true.
Puck.
Oh, that was it. Puck is best girl.
Puck. Yes.
And let's
so
not
cute, but so angy.
Patrice.
Patrice. Oh, I can't wait to get back into that show. This is a great show.
Do it.
But anyways,
do it.
I think we'll call it there. So yes, you can join us next time. That is going to be, oh my God, October the 3rd. Saturday, October the 3rd. Yep, that is going to be our next show.
That's crazy.
And it's going to
be.
It is going to be. Oh dang, lost it.
Just a little.
What is the show that we're watching next time? I can't remember. ReZero. I was thinking Rem, and I couldn't get the word. ReZero.
We'll be watching Rem next time.
We'll be watching Rem next time. I mean, that's really what we're. So.
That's really what we're here for.
On the 3rd of October, we'll be talking about ReZero Season 2 or 3? 2? Season 2? Season 2.
Season 2. First season.
Well, it was a long first season. There were arcs in it.
It's a two-parter. Is how I conceptualize.
Just a little bit of a soft plug, but October 13th, Monster Force Zero comes, and I have a brief part in that.
Ooh, that's so fancy.
Yay. I'm excited.
Can you say anything about it? No.
Yeah, I can say stuff about it. It's like you go to the store and you buy a VHS, and it's like video games and cosplayers and furries, and there's like this science fiction stuff happening, and it's like a roller coaster ride. It's
that
really
sounds
fun.
like a roller coaster ride.
And I had hot pink hair for it, and I was like in my boots and.
Girl, if I find it on DVD, I'm gonna buy it.
That's awesome. But hey, thank you, Mountain Dew, for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having
This has been
me.
lovely. And thank everybody, of course, out there for joining us today. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Stay sweet.